Have you ever wondered what true faith looks like? Not just believing something, but living it, breathing it, even when it seems impossible. Today, we're re-diving into one of the most powerful stories of faith ever told, the story of Abraham. Our story begins in a place called Ur of the Chaldees, with a man named Abram. He was living a pretty normal life for his time, until one day he heard a voice. It was the voice of God, making an extraordinary promise. Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. Now, put yourself in Abram's shoes. This wasn't a small request. It meant leaving everything he knew, his home, his family, his entire support system, to go to a place he'd never even seen. And the promise? A great nation. Abram and his wife, Sarai, were old, and they didn't have any children. It sounded completely illogical, but something in that voice resonated deep within him. Abram chose to trust. He packed up his life and, along with Sarai and his nephew Lot, he set out on a journey into the unknown. This was his first great act of faith. They traveled for a long, long time, eventually arriving in the land of Canaan. There, God appeared to Abram again and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So Abram built an altar to the Lord. He was holding on to the promise, even though there was no child in sight. As the years rolled by, Abram's faith was tested again and again. There were famines, conflicts, and family disputes. He even had to rescue his nephew Lot from captivity. Through it all, he kept his trust in God. One night, God spoke to Abram in a vision, reassuring him. Abram voiced his deepest worry. "Sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless?" God's response was incredible. He took Abram outside and said, "Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. So shall your offspring be." And the Bible tells us something profound. Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. His belief, his unwavering trust, was what mattered most to God. To seal this covenant, God changed their names. Abram became Abraham, meaning father of many nations, and Sarai became Sarah, meaning princess. It was a constant reminder of the promise, spoken over them every day. Still, the years passed. Sarah, now 90 years old, laughed when she overheard that she would have a son. It seemed too incredible to be true. But God's timing is not our timing. At the age of 100, Abraham finally held his promised son, Isaac. The joy must have been overwhelming. The promise had come true. Isaac was the living, breathing proof of God's faithfulness. This is where the story takes a turn that is almost impossible to comprehend. Just when Abraham has everything he ever wanted, God tests his faith in the most extreme way imaginable. Abraham. God called. "Here I am," he replied. Then God said, "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." Can you even imagine hearing those words? The son he had waited a century for, the child who embodied God's promise. And now, he was being asked to give him up. This is the ultimate test. It's a moment that challenges our understanding of faith, love, and obedience. What would you do? What would I do? Early the next morning, Abraham got up, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. He cut the wood for the offering and set out for the place God had told him about. For 3 days, they traveled in what must have been agonizing silence. On the 3rd day, Abraham saw the place in the distance. He told his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you." Notice his words, "We will come back to you." Even in this moment of extreme trial, Abraham held onto a sliver of hope, a belief that somehow God would provide. As they walked up the mountain, Isaac, carrying the wood, turned to his father. "Father." "Yes, my son." Isaac asked, "The fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham's reply is one of the most faith-filled statements in all of history. He said, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." He didn't know how, but he trusted that God would be true to his character. He trusted that the God who had promised to make him a great nation through Isaac wouldn't let that promise die on a mountaintop. When they reached the spot, Abraham built an altar. He arranged the wood. He bound his precious son Isaac and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. This must have been the hardest thing any father has ever had to do. He reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But just as he was about to act, an angel of the Lord called out from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham." "Here I am," he replied. "Do not lay a hand on the boy," the angel said. "Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." Abraham looked up, and there in a thicket, he saw a ram caught by its horns. He went and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. Abraham called that place, "The Lord will provide." This story isn't just about a test, it's about revelation. God wasn't asking for Isaac's life, he was asking for Abraham's heart. He wanted to know if Abraham loved the giver more than the gift. Abraham's story teaches us that faith is not the absence of questions or fear. It's trusting God even when we don't understand the path. It's believing in the promise even when we can't see the provision. It's about taking that next step, even into the unknown, because we trust the one who is leading us. His journey from Ur to Moriah is a timeless reminder that with God, even the most impossible situations can become a testimony to his faithfulness. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey of faith. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that inspire and challenge us. Let me know in the comments what part of Abraham's story resonates with you the most. See you next time.